Hello everyone. Today I want to show you my violets and I want to talk about my secrets, how I got this kind of flowers. It's head blooming, see, and my violet is in full bloom now. I wanted to show you earlier, but I didn't have time to make this video. And see, it has beautiful flowers still. It started blooming months ago. I showed you this violet when I took my video about $1 African violets for the beginners. In that video I showed you this violet, and I want to talk with you today how I grow them and where I grow them. And you see they're sitting in Wick Watering. This is the first secret that I had this kind of blooms. And in most of videos on YouTube you can find Wick Watering, about Wick Watering and how to make this kind of blooms. But most of people, they don't tell you secrets. They tell that to have this kind of blooms, we need light, we need watering on time, and we need fertilizer. And what kind of light, what kind of watering, what kind of fertilizer, nobody tells you in details. Today I want to talk with you in details. I will try to tell you in details how I got this kind of blooms, and that's why I'm making this video. In front of me you see this full blooming African violets. Still, this one still has buds, but the flowers are getting old already. But they started blooming months ago, and see, all the flowers are safe still. This flowers little bit old, but they are safe. If you put in Wick Watering, you will get the flowers long-lasting flowers, and they don't die fast, and they stay long. And they bloom, healthy. They bloom big. They will have big blooms. If you put your violet in the place where you don't have growing light, they bloom and they die. And the other buds, they bloom. They bloom by turn. Like in this case, these violets, these 4 violets, I grow under the daylight. They don't grow under the growing light, you see, and they look to the window towards the light, and that's why the leaves, they are turning to one side, see. And this one, you see how it's turning towards the light. And I constantly turn them, I turn them, and that way I keep these leaves straight. 1 week I turn them this way, and 1 week I turn them this way, like this. And there is a difference between these violets, which I grow under the daylight, and these ones which I grow under the growing light. I use T8 growing light, fluorescent growing light, and I keep that light on for 12 hours a day. Whenever I get up, I put on the light, and when I go to sleep, I turn off the light. And here I will show you the difference growing under the daylight and growing under the growing light. And here I have two violets. You see, these are growing under the growing light, and these ones are growing under the daylight. These are blooming violets. These are going to bloom, and I will show you the difference. Here you see the violet, and it has buds also. You see the size of the buds. They are small, tiny, and when this one blooms, this one gets bigger, and when it starts blooming, this one will die. In the wick watering, it doesn't happen. This one blooms and it stays, and this one blooms and they stay all together safe, like this in this case. And I paid attention to that. And here I will show you, which I grow under the growing light. Here you see the buds. Let me put this back and I will show you the buds. Here you see the buds. When they start growing from the beginning, from the stem, they grow, you know, right away they grow big buds. Here, see? The size of the buds are big, huge. And here you see that, you see the small one, which just started growing. Here. And it's huge also. And here you see this one is going to bloom. See how it's huge. And this one also. They start growing, you know, these violets which are growing under the growing light, and they sit in the wick watering. They right away start growing the healthy buds and huge buds right away, and they grow and they bloom and they stay long and they don't die. But when you grow under the daylight, what happens? Let me show you both together and you will see the difference. Here, see the size of the buds. See here, you see the size, and I will show you this one. It's huge, and this is going to bloom, and I don't want to show it, you know. We cannot compare with this. And see, they have huge buds. And this one, which I grow under the daylight, what happens? These flowers, they bloom, see these buds, and they cannot stay until these ones open. They die and these ones will open. And it's happening because I don't grow them under the growing light, and they don't sit in the wick watering. This is the first secret. You see, they're beautiful flowers, and this violet blooms constantly. It never stops blooming. They you know, even the winter time, summertime, spring, autumn, it doesn't have you know, special time for blooming. It's always in bloom. You see how beautiful flowers? It has some purple dots on the flowers. This is very beautiful African violet. I love this one, and it doesn't die fast. And you see this kind of leaves. What I do, I didn't take it before making video. I wanted to show. I don't take the leaves when they start, you know, fading. I let them die naturally, and when they get dry or when they become like this, I can remove them. You know, before this, I don't remove. I let them die by themselves. It didn't die because of watering or something. It's old leaf, and this violet is correcting its rosette by itself. See how I remove? I remove like this. I push it to the side, and like this I remove it. And this kind of spikes, flower spikes, I remove when they die, you know, when they become brown. And if I don't like this kind of dry flowers, I pinch with my nails and I take them like this, and I give them beautiful, nice look. Here I removed all the dead flowers and leaves, and you see it's pretty. And what kind of fertilizer I use? I use this fertilizer. I love this fertilizer. It makes your violets bloom, and it makes healthy, and the leaves, they grow. You know, when you feed your violets with this fertilizer, you will see the difference right away after feeding. The leaves start looking up and they shine from happiness. And see, you can buy this fertilizer. This fertilizer I mix with 1 gallon of water, and for my watering, Wick Watering violets, I take from this, you know, the 1 spoon. I take from this fertilizer 1 teaspoon, this in this small one. I take and I mix with 1 gallon of water. And when I wanna water these violets, which are not sitting in the Wick Watering, I take from this water and I feed them. But for this Wick Watering violets, how I use this water, I put half from fertilizer, from the water with the fertilizer, and half clear water, and I mix. That way I make this wicker, this water I make wicker, because these violets, they drink this water every day constantly. That's why it's very strong if I use directly for these violets. That's why I mix and make wicker. And in growing, in order to make this kind of blooms, we need light. We need growing light to have this kind of blooms, and we need the light for 12 hours. And the second thing, we need watering, Wick Watering, see, and we need fertilizer, of course. And these 3 things, if you do, they will bloom like this, head blooming. They will fill the top with blooms, and they will make you happy, and they don't die. The old flowers, they don't die until all the buds will bloom for you. And this is my secret. And here I have, you know, these violets. I showed you in my video about $1 African violets for the beginners, and you can go to that video and watch that video if you didn't watch yet. These violets I found from Lowe's. They were on clearance. They were $1 each, and that time when I brought them home, I cleaned, I took away all their dead leaves, and this one was, you know, the one leaf started decaying from the center. I showed you, and look at this, how it's beautiful now. It's happy and healthy. I put right away in this, not right away, after 10 days, I put them all in Wick Watering except this one. I put 6 of them in Wick Watering, but this one I didn't put because it's in huge pot, see, and it had a few leaves that time, and it was small. It was smaller than this pot. Usually we have to use smaller pot but bigger African violet plant. But this violet was sitting in this pot, but it lost most of its leaves because it was over dried African violet. And I bought this because of these leaves. I love that leaves. You know, these leaves, they have different shape. They are wavy, and you see the edge of leaves, they have different shape. You see, they're wavy, and here it's also wavy. I love them, and that's why I bought this violet. I don't have this kind of violet in my collection. And what I want to tell you about these ones are sitting in Wick Watering. This one is not sitting. You see, I put a plate under and I water it from the bottom, and you see how much it grew, and you see the healthy leaves now. It's shiny, it's happy. And these ones I put in Wick Watering, and this is this started growing its center middle leaves. And here I had, you know, 3 heads. This one had 3 heads, and I have to separate these violets. And here I will show you something which made me happy. You see this violet, it started growing buds. You see how many buds it has here, and from all the sides it has buds. You see here, and here it wants to bloom. Maybe tomorrow it will bloom for me. And here I think it will bloom like this one. These ones, like these ones, it will fill this top and make the head blooming also. You see, from each side it has, even in the between the leaves, under the leaves, you see the buds, small buds here. It has lots of buds here, and I will turn and you will see better. Here you see this bud, and under this bud here it has some more. You see here tiny ones, and it's growing lots of buds now. That's why I showed you in that video. I told you to buy this kind of clearance violets. Don't be scared, and see how long it was when I bought these violets. It was 3-4 weeks ago. I think it was that video I took on 13th of February, months ago. Yeah, months ago I bought these violets, and see the results in months. In months they are growing their buds, lots of buds, and you see they are making me happy. And these ones also are growing their buds. See, full of buds here. They are tiny. See, from each side it has buds also. And here you see tiny flowers, buds, and they will bloom. You know, see here the red ones, they are buds. These are buds. And this will bloom like this also. It's very good to put your violets in Wick Watering. If you want me to show you how to make Wick Watering way, I will show you, but there are lots of videos about Wick Watering on the YouTube. you can find. And see the difference. These violets are sitting in wick watering and this one is not. And see, I will show you, this one doesn't have any growing buds, or it has also, see, it started growing buds, but this one will not bloom like that one, you know. They will have difference, you know, in blooming. This started growing buds also, see. I didn't see before. Now I saw that it started growing buds also. See that it's full of buds also here. Yeah, but it cannot bloom like these ones, because it's not sitting in wick watering. Why it cannot bloom? Because you know, most of time we are lazy or we don't have time. For example, me, I don't have time to water them on time. You know, I water them, but sometimes they stay without water. Sometimes they stay. I keep watering them. You know, that way they don't have constantly, you know, equal watering. That's why they cannot bloom like these ones. But these ones, they will not have any problem, and they will bloom and they will fill the top with flowers. And here you see this violet. I'm growing it under the daylight, and you see the difference. You know, these buds, this is opening. It started opening today. Usually the violets, they bloom small, and day by day the flowers become bigger and bigger. But the ones which are sitting in wick watering, they start blooming right away. They start blooming huge flowers in compare with these ones, you know. They are small and they become big, and until they become big, these buds will catch up, you know, these ones. But until they bloom, these ones will die, because we don't keep always equal moist this soil. We cannot do that, you know. It's impossible. For example, for me, it's impossible to give them all their rights. I am busy mom. And see, this one is also started blooming. It has beautiful flowers. I love this color. And see the buds, how they are tiny. They are small, tiny buds. Until these buds will grow, these ones, they will die. If I put them in wick watering, they become strong. If I put them on the, you know, growing light, under the growing light, they become strong and they bloom different. But they are blooming. I don't have space for all of them to put under the growing light, because it's full with my violets. I usually put my weak violets there, and my strong violets I keep under the daylight. And I showed you my fertilizer. I showed you my clearance violets. You see the difference. And I showed you my this violets, and this one, you know, it started blooming in 4 months, I think. 4 months ago I separated this violet from the mom, and see, it's sitting in wick watering and it likes this wick watering. And I want to tell you something about wick watering. Some violet babies, they cannot survive in wick watering, because I saw that in my experience. I started wick watering in winter time. It's still cold, you know. It's March 7th today, but it's still cold and we have snow outside, and these violets are sitting in a cooler room, and they are close to the door, which my kids open most of time, and that way that place which they are sitting, it's cooler. And most of my baby violets which I put in wick watering, they couldn't survive, they died. But this one, it loved from the first day, it loved this wick watering way, and you see it's happy. And in this short time, in 4 months, it started blooming for me. You see, it has huge buds, and it's full of buds also. It's this violet's first blooming. Usually when the African violets bloom for the first time, they don't bloom much. They will grow maximum 3 or 2 flower spikes. And this one, you see, it's full of buds, and it has many flower spikes, this kind of spikes. It has lots of them. Here, see, and here it's for the first time, for the first blooming. It's very good result. And under this flower, I broke this leaf. Okay, I can take it out. I broke it, and I can replant. I can propagate from this leaf. See, here under this flower spike, it has again small flower spike, and it also started growing its suckers. From these suckers, if I don't remove them, if I let them grow, I can have again violets from this type. See, in this short period, in this short time, it's healthy and big. See, it's huge plant. I don't know how many inches it is, but it's huge plant. And this violet is a baby of this violet. You see, this is mama and this is baby, and baby started blooming also in this short time, in 4 months. You see this? This is very beautiful African violet, and I don't have any from this kind except this one. This is the first baby from this violet, and we will see. I think it's blooming exactly like mama. You see here, it took everything from the mother violet. I will open and will try to show you. If I turn this way, you can see better, I think. Yeah, it took everything from the mama. Usually African violets, when you propagate from the leaf, they don't bloom like mother African violet, if they're varietal African violets, of course. But this one is also not simple African violet, but still it's making me happier. And see, what I want to tell you here, I have my clematis, which I showed you in my previous videos. I think when I showed you my African wild potting soil, how I make it, and I showed you in that video this clematis, and I planted this clematis in African wild potting soil, which I make myself. And see, it's in bloom now. It has pretty color, and it's a little bit old. It started blooming on the 1st March, and it's weak since it started blooming. You see, this color is beautiful. I love this color. It's close to the blue, light blue. It's not purple. You see, it's a mixture of blue and purple. In the center it's blue and the sides are purple. I don't know if I plant it outside what kind of color it will have, but this color is something different. I love this color. And what I want to tell you, the important thing I want to remind you again: light, watering, and fertilizer. If you keep these three things together, you will have this kind of flowers. And this fertilizer I use, and I grow these violets under the growing light, these ones under the daylight. You see, from the leaves you cannot see the difference. They are all happy, healthy. See, they have same color, you know, dark green and shiny leaves, but in the blooms they have difference. We cannot keep these flowers until the small ones bloom. That's the difference between growing under the daylight and growing light, and growing in the wick watering and watering, you know, every time when they need. This wick watering way is best, but it's not good when you start in the winter time. It's not good for the small babies. Most of them, they will not survive. That's why we have to be careful to start wick watering in the winter time. With big ones it's okay, but small ones, they cannot survive because they don't have strong roots. Maybe that's why they don't survive. And these violets, I didn't change their soil. I wanted to tell you this also. I didn't change their soil. I took, you know, I will show you. I took this the soil with violet outside, and I put my wick, which I made from the tights, from the, you know, we wear tights, and that tight I, you know, cut and put in here. We can use knitting thread also for the wick watering. They work good. Here I put knitting thread. You see, it's taking water very well. It's not stopping here. Sometimes when the wick is not good, the water stops here, and you can the violet cannot take water. You see how they grow their roots? They're very happy. They're growing their roots outside. They're going to the water. And I didn't change their soil. I put in this pot wick, and I put them in these cups. You see, anything we can use for this. This news I wanted to show you today. Thank you for watching. If you are new in my channel, if you are for the first time watching my videos, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you like my videos, please put thumbs up. For more videos, we will discuss with you more problems and more success, which I do with my plants. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Happy gardening. Bye.